copyright stuff. The Who thing got taken down.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah. But,
All right.
and we have had trouble with indie rockers before. Are we live now?
We are live now.
All right, so I was just talking about Clockwork Records, Hastings-on-Hudson. I went through these records. I discussed, I had a very Jewish Friday, and I don't mean that I didn't use electricity for Shabbat. But Jake Shields contacted me. He goes, hey, I'm going to be in New York with Nate Diaz. Great, let's paint the town. I know you guys are vegetarians. I'll find like the best vegetarian restaurant in town, and we can fucking get wasted and party. And let's do this and that. And then he contacts me later, and he goes, if you don't know who Jake Shields is, by the way, great MMA fighter, kind of a Sean Strickland kind of guy. I red-pilled him. I overdid it, apparently, because he's real big on hating the Jews. Oops. I overdid it, I guess. So now he's trying to convert me from pro-Jew to anti-Jew. I don't know why. I guess, like, say Ozzy inspires you to become a Spanish guitarist, and then you try to get Ozzy into Spanish music. It's not going to happen, bro. But, yeah, Jake Shields, great fighter, very long career. I think he once went, like, 7 years without a defeat. And I think what blew it, his winning streak, was, like, his dad was his coach. His dad died. And, right before his fight on the Jumbotron, they show that, like, this is 3 weeks after his dad died, they show this big, like, image of his dad. Okay. So that fucked him up, got in his head, as one would. And he lost that fight. So he had a busy schedule. He's here doing a jiu-jitsu seminar that the Jewish community is trying to get shut down. It's weird because the far left right now is very anti-Semitic. So you're kind of popular if you're pro-Palestine. Even with these, I call them secular atheist Jews, Chinos, Jews in name only. But yeah, it's only like a few Israelis who were attacking him. He didn't lose any friends. Like, I lost my entire contact book when I came out as pro-Trump. But he lost like one friend. Some Jewish guy who owns a spa was calling us incessantly saying, come up here, come up here. Okay. But I realize in retrospect now, I don't think Jake was dying to be my best friend. I think that he wanted to get a podcast in where he shits on me for liking Jews, and then that was checked off, and it was time to move on. Because after we were done the talk, I said, let's do a walking tour of New York City. I've been meaning to do this for a while. Do like where Bill the Butcher was killed. I think I'm going to do it with Glenn Beck.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Glenn Beck's going to be in town. I'll take him to the 5 Points, the Bloody Angle, where Bill the Butcher was killed, which is now an Nespresso store on Broadway, 576 Broadway. 1855, I think. He basically ran all the gangs of New York during the Industrial Revolution. The Know Nothings, the Bowery Boys. I think simultaneously, actually. Anyway, that'll be a fun thing. So I thought, okay, we could do that. So we do the sit down here, which will air on the show soon. And I'm trying to talk about fighting and music and girls. And it just keeps coming back to the Jays. And the problem with these JQ types, and I'm not being, a bitch and talking behind his back, they're sort of like flat earthers, where they know all this shit that you haven't heard of. Like, I'm pretty familiar with the USS Liberty, and I can argue that it was friendly fire, it was an accident. I know the other end of the argument. I know how mad people get when I say that, but I'm familiar with it. All this other shit, like, did you know the first terror bombing was actually Mossad? And now I gotta, look it up live? So I might do that. And I go, okay, but do you have mainstream sources that say this and that? And also, you go through a country's history with a microscope, like America, you're going to see that, as Pat Buchanan said, our treatment of the Indians was not what one would expect for those to whom the Sermon on the Mount is divine command. Yeah, you're going to see some bad shit. And so it's really just me being lambasted with terrible things that Israelis have done. Okay. And then we go for the walking tour. And I take him to the Ear Inn, interesting place. Used to be on the water, of New York before they made Battery Park City, all that sort of lower west side area, which they got from dredging up the Lincoln Tunnel. So I'm telling him about that, and I can tell he's not that interested. Okay. So then we have some drinks and some food at the Ear Inn, which is a great place. The thing I like about the Ear Inn is it's kind of touristy, and it's all rich people in that neighborhood now, but it still has a very locals-only vibe, where you don't want to talk too loud when you're in there. I like that it's still got this kind of exclusionary thing. So then we go down to the War Memorial, and then he comes to life, and we hear how Jews are responsible for 9/11 for 35 minutes straight. Meanwhile, we'd already covered that in our sit-down talk. So then I'm like, can I not talk about Jews anymore? It was hour and a half long conversation here. And then it was the drive to the city, which was about 40 minutes. And then it was an hour with his recordings. And I'm done. And then he invites Sneeko over. I'd never met Sneeko before. We're a bit of a generation gap with us. And we go to this great bar in Lower Manhattan, sort of, not really Lower Manhattan, just sort of when Chinatown is starting, west of Chinatown, I guess, Nancy Whiskey. It's a perfect dive bar. And he lives near there, Sneeko does. Maybe I should be saying that. But I go, oh, this is a great bar. And he goes, oh, I've never been here before. And he orders a Sprite. I go, what's with the faggot juice? And he goes, I'm Muslim, I don't drink. And I go, oh, great, muzzies. I've been talking about fucking muzzies for 3 hours now. But we talked about Ye a little bit. Very charming guy, very likable guy, Sneeko. Very sincere. But those guys were going to go do streeters and then maybe go to this Jewish guy's spa. No. Plus, I'm exhausted. I'm like a husk after defending Jews for hours. And I'm not an expert, believe it or not. I'm no rabbi. So I'm just like saying what I say to you guys, which is I see a lot of this anti-Semitism and pro-Palestine stuff is really anti-whiteness, at least when it comes from like rich liberals, college kids, American blacks. A lot of it is like, fuck the best whites is really what they're saying. And we've seen this actually. You know what? I just saw this. Where did I put that? Yeah, go to 2-1. You'll notice now they're getting a little more honest about it, and it's anti-Israel is anti-white supremacy. You're a white supremacist if you support Israel. I don't know how we got here. I can't seem to escape that name. People call me a white supremacist. I go, no, I support Israel. And they go, yeah, that's what I just said. Oh, fuck. Back to square one. Here's a deer in the headlights from Africa who's got a lot of Israeli shit on. But what he's accused of being, I think, is pretty relevant.
Brother, I gotta ask you, what the fuck? What are you wearing, bro?
Brother.
What are you wearing, brother? He got on the Izzy jacket, and he got on a backpack.
What is with the
And he got a
ebonics?
flag on it. You, brother, are doing the work of the white supremacists. I just want to let you know you're doing amazing white supremacist work. And if you go over into them colonized lands, you out of your mind. Nothing to say?
Stop.
Nothing.
If you go over in them colonized lands, it's like the Palestinian News Network wigger who has a failed rap career. They all talk like this. And it's, you know what it is, too? It's kind of a weird black voice. It's not a 2025 black voice. It's like backpack hip-hop voice from like 2010.
Where are you from, bro?
Africa.
What part of Africa? Brother, you from what part of Africa?
Kenya.
You from Kenya?
Yeah.
Are you Jewish?
Yes, I am.
Are you Jewish? You took a minute to answer. Are you actually Jewish? He said he's Jewish.
He said he Jewish, y'all.
Okay. You know this flag wasn't created until 1897. The real logo for Judaism was the candles. Up until 1897,
Menorah.
this was made up by the Rothschilds.
Oh my God, did
This
I
is
ever hear about the
Zionism, man.
Rothschilds? By the way, Jake always calls it white supremism. You're not a white supremacist. We're just dropping syllables now?
They say that like on MSNBC all the time too. White supremacist.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Are we
why.
so lazy we can't?
Yeah.
It's like when I was after we went record shopping, I went to some bar with my daughter, and the waitress was like, "Can I take your plate?" And I'm like, "You already did a hard consonant with t and p. Why not throw in two more? That's just one per word. Take your plate." I gotta say, I don't want to sound like a white supremacist, but there's no one white in this city, even in this country. Like I'm at the bar, I'm watching the news, and they go, "There's a horrific bus accident on the way to Buffalo, New York," and you go, "Oh shit." We talked to some of the survivors. For example, we talked to Gao Gao Yun, GAO space YUN. Gao Gao Yun is there. And you're like, okay, I guess it was a China bus. And then the next news segment is this guy who punched out a dude with a little doggy, knocked him out. And they're like, Vladimir Ustayevkariskikov, and like some Russian name. I'm like, is anyone here not weird? Can I tell you a play? I went to Jacques Brasserie with Anthony Cumia and Ann Coulter on Saturday night. Great night. She was with a date, and so he wanted to know like the Vice Media story, the Proud Boy story, Anthony Cumia, O&A stuff. So there was a lot of Wikipedia type stuff in the evening, and Ant and I wasted a lot of gold. It's like, if we had a microphone on this table, this would have been the podcast of the century. But 100% of the staff are Mexican with thick accents. I didn't see into the kitchen, but I'm guessing it's the same. The bartender, the maitre d', Mexico, at this French restaurant. And I realized I haven't been served, and again, this is why liberals push diversity. They want a diversity of servants, serving them a variety of foods. I haven't been served by someone without an accent in, I think, 5 years. And that's the suburbs, that's the city. Even like some teenager comes up, you're like, oh, good, teens are working again. Hello, I'm from Brazil. Can I help? Can I tell you a play? Yeah, fuck. It's getting weird. And even in the South Bronx here, like, I'm going to get my chopped cheese today. This sounds like a very xenophobic white supremacist complaining, but I'm double parked, so I'm going to check on my car while he makes me my chopped cheese. Ex-con from Morocco, by the way. Like the guy I was talking to at the bar, another Moroccan. And this guy who looks exactly like Cat Williams, like with the straightened hair. And he goes, "Excuse me, sir, I was wondering." And I'm just like, no. I go inside. This woman is, older black lady's being confronted by the Armenian store owner for stealing an apple. But she was just looking at it. And then she looks at me and goes, he crazy. I'm like, I don't care. And then she goes outside and she's rapping on the glass, his glass, with her rings. But there's all shelves behind him. He can't see anyone. Why are you doing that? You were just inside talking his face off. Keeps going and going and going. What was the other example? You know, then I drop off my laundry. That woman barely speaks English. She's Chinese. It's a lot. Anyway, you know what a vibe I got hanging out with all these MMA people? It kind of reminds me of the backpack hip-hop scene of, like, the early aughts. Like, not A$AP Rocky, but the guy he's named after, Aesop Rock.
That whole crew
Like, it was
there.
very white.
Yeah.
And they all had backpacks, and they were kind of nerdy, but kind of cool. I'm not talking about the fighters themselves, but the sort of sneakos of the scene. They remind me of rap fans. That mathematical, scientifical, metaphysical rap. But while all this was going on, they were hanging out with this dude, Rampage, and he was on Jake's podcast. Jake must have done like a show a day here for a week. And while they were talking to Rampage, his son Raja may have murdered a wrestler. Have you heard of this story?
Yeah, I've seen it going around. I haven't got into it too much.
So show the pic of me and J-Dog.
Okay.
This is... chicks love those fucking ears, man. He might look like a rabbit to you with his anti-Zionist chess player on his shirt. But those cabbage ears, like chicks, their pussies melt I might just get prosthetic fake ears just to make bitches horny. Even guys, too. Like when we went to Nancy Whiskey, he walked out for, I don't know, to talk to someone, and I was walking past where he left, and they were like, yeah, that's why his ears are like that. That's from wrestling. So guys are into it, too. It's the hot new ear. I would say it surpasses a facial scar. John Kavanaugh has them. It's like his sexiest trait, apparently. But, so 22A, that's the thing I was talking about with the dad pick. Must be brutal. Wait, is this 22A? 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, 1006, 1008, 1000. What is this? Okay, so the USA, there we go. That's, what are you doing, bro?
It's just automatically doing that.
Okay, UFC Shield struggles to move beyond something. Anyway, if you can dig up that article, if you can pause it for the nanosecond we put it up, it's really good reporting. I find that really rare with sports journalism, especially Met stuff. If you're autistic and smart enough to be one of the guys who gets to write about sports or the Mets, you're probably not a great writer. And they repeat paragraphs. But that's really good sports journalism, that article. So this is what happened. Ready? Raja Jackson, son of Rampage Jackson. Rampage Jackson is an incredible fighter, great record. Raja, his son, not so much. And, well, we have the footage of this entire story. We don't know if this fucking guy's alive. But let's start at the beginning. I'll fill in any blanks. The short version of the story is wrestler does a bit on Raja. Raja doesn't like it. He goes to that guy's wrestling match later on, gets into the ring, and murders him, basically. Attempted murder, I don't know what you want to call it. Looks like it could end up as manslaughter because this guy doesn't seem to be doing very well. And one of the dumbest parts of all this is Rampage and Raja can't stop talking to the internet. Now, we put this out on our Twitter page. Dads of the world, if your son does something terrible, guilty or not, ferme ta gueule. Shut your yap. Let the lawyers handle it. The prosecution has the easiest job I've ever seen. The prosecution could probably do this from bed, just forwarding various videos to the judge. Like, don't say a fucking word. How many times do we have to say this to criminals, especially murderers?
Do we want to go behind the paywall to get into this story, or?
Yeah, what do we do, 15 minutes?
Yeah, we've done 17 minutes.
Okay, yeah, let's get behind the paywall, and we're going to go over this story where I've got some inside goss.
Censored.tv, promo code Gavin. We'll